Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable with JP
and Stacy D.
I'm JP Craddock, and that is the one and only Stacy D Love. We are broadcasting here on KUAW Radio, which stands for knowledge, understanding,
and wisdom.
Our question of the day today is: I have an uncle who sometimes shows up for holidays dressed as Uncle Shannon and sometimes dressed as Aunt Shannon. How do I explain this to my young children?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Which is a good question. So what we're going to do...
I'm eating some peppermint, so I'm not going to be smacking.
You probably will still end up smacking. It's candy. We need, if she ends up snacking, somebody hit us up in the chat, because I won't notice. I didn't notice the last time. I'll let you do what you're going to do, D. Okay, so we're going to explain the difference between gender identity and gender fluidity, gender fluid. So that'll be interesting, and that'll be coming up after our check-ins and mental health and illness in the news. Stacy D, you got a little check-in sitting here.
Here go my baby. Everybody see her.
Can they see the baby? They can't see the baby.
She can't fit anything. She has on her diaper, so we're not going to have any.
Oh, she has on a what?
We don't have any.
What's the baby's name?
Her name is Dreamy Lynn.
Dreamy Lynn.
But we're going to call her Dream for short.
Okay.
Are you comfortable?
How old is Dreamy Lynn?
Dreamy Lynn is 8 weeks old and 4 days.
Okay. For those of you who are not aware, Stacy D has been on this dog experience, dog search for what, 6 months?
Ever since August, ever since Sarah got killed, he was murdered.
Which is sad. Somebody killed Stacy's dog. And so it took a long time to get this dog to Kansas City. I'm glad she finally made it.
I know. She's like 2 pounds, probably close. She's not eating very much now, but she'll be okay. She's so spoiled. I love her.
Okay. Well, and you went through so much to get her here that that's a lot of love. I'm glad she's here. Mm-hmm. All right. Does she travel with you?
Everywhere, because she's too young to go to daycare right now.
Okay. Sounds good. Any recent travels that she's been on, Stacy?
No.
Really? Okay.
None at all.
You have anything else for your check-in, Stacy D? No. Okay. I really do not have a check-in today. I'm tired. I was up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning because Sashi, my baby, she doesn't like a lot of food. She don't like meat. And she doesn't like vegetables. The only meat she likes is fried chicken skin. She'll like chicken
skin?
She'll like the chicken. She will eat the skin, though.
The skin off the chicken. So you got to make sure you fry it just right.
Yeah, we don't fry food.
So how do you do it then?
When she's at my sister's house, my sister will put anything in a deep fryer, okay? She gets fried food over there, and she loves Popeye's fried chicken. And so she eats fried chicken skin, and she likes breakfast sausage, turkey.
Oh, okay.
Links. And she likes crust and gravy. When she eats a pot pie, she picks out the chicken or the turkey or the beef. She picks out the vegetables with the exception of carrots, and she will just eat the crust and the gravy. So I was up all night making my baby a personalized pot pie with the stuff that she likes.
So what was in there? How did you do chicken crust?
I didn't put the fried chicken skin in
so
there.
It was just the gravy.
Only because I didn't think about it. Because really, I should have put that on top of it.
Like Ooh,
Yes.
sprinkle it.
I
Yeah.
should have sprinkled. So my baby's next pot pie,
Sprinkle me,
it
baby.
will have
I used to love
fried
that
chicken
song.
skin on it. What?
Sprinkle me, baby.
Street music. Okay. So, but it has sausage and gravy. Okay. And I make some good gravy. The gravy is
Like
fire.
you used to make for your mama's dog.
No, my mama didn't let us make the gravy for our dog. My mama made that gravy herself every day. And our dog's coat was really from the gravy.
Beautiful.
You might need to make some gravy. Your dog can't handle gravy. Never mind.
Not right now. But she's not gonna eat dog food. After she gets like 4 months, I'm gonna transition her to regular food. I know, Sire, I'm so sorry, but Sire, you were spoiled too. So he's probably looking up at doggy heaven like, Mama, really?
What regular food can a dog eat on a regular daily basis?
Chicken and turkey
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
hamburger, and I'm gonna mix it with vegetables and rice.
You're not gonna give her chitlins.
No, I said chicken. I don't even eat No.
Nadine gave her dog some chitlin juice one time.
And that's why he ran away.
I'm not gonna even say what happened, but chitlins are not
imagine.
fit to be consumed by any living being. Oh, people probably not gonna like that. Okay, for those of you out there, what happened, Stacy? What'd you do to that
I didn't
screen?
do anything. That's the people in behind the scenes messing with stuff again.
I can't see crap.
Maybe it's just us. We can't see it, but are we okay? The producers, are we okay? They're trying to figure it out. I don't know what they're looking at, but they wasn't looking at us. But okay.
Why are they always doing
Good
something
help
during the
is
show?
hard to find.
If they would just sit back there and
Don't
chill,
do nothing.
they do too much.
Or read our comments when they come up. How about that?
Without having them on the D's face, Professor. Okay. For those of you, let me fix this. For those of you who eat chitlins, which historically, chitlins got our ancestors through some difficult times, because on the slave plantation, what would be thrown out, what was kind of the scraps from, the slave holders, the slaves had the option of either starving to death or figuring out how to make a meal out of chitlins and other pig parts.
Snoots, ears,
Yes.
feet.
All parts of that pig.
Hey, it. Calm down.
That massa was like, we are not eating that. They would throw it out, and yes. And so, I joke about chitlins because I am not a chitlin person, but
I agree.
we do have to respect our history. And now chitlins are considered a
I could
delicacy.
see.
So,
Well, they
and
go
people-
ahead on and eat that. I'm cool.
Yeah, and you won't be giving that to the puppy.
No,
No.
you would not be getting that.
So anyway, my baby's pot pie doesn't have chitlins in it, but it does have sausage gravy, and as a slight thickener, mashed cauliflower. This is a way to get her to eat cauliflower.
I
is
love cauliflower though.
mix it in with the filling in the pot pie. It takes on the flavor of like the gravy. She will
It's
not.
good to make it like mashed potatoes.
It's like mashed potatoes. She's never gonna know.
I even had a cauliflower pizza. Like
Oh yeah, the crust.
the crust was made
That's
of
healthy.
cauliflower. Yeah,
That's good. That's good. Mhm.
try my best because I love to eat. I love to eat. I just try
Well,
to maintain.
yes, yeah, and I love to eat too. All right, let's get to some mental health and illness in the news. Stacy D,
Woo, woo, woo.
is there any particular story that you want us to touch on today?
No.
Okay.
But hold on a minute, JP. I thought we was gonna start a new segment. So
What
you
new
be throwing
segment?
stuff out there and then you don't come back. Alpha male.
Oh, the news segment. Oh, that's what my other check-in is. Okay,
Yes.
hold on a minute. We did talk about the new segment, and I do have something that I have tried. It's called We Tried It. And so what I was thinking is we could do things that we both tried together, or we could do things that we have tried out separately and suggest to the other person. So we can do that. I do have something for that segment today. But my other check-in is, and I posted this on Facebook, we are launching, myself and 3 other distinguished gentlemen are launching a podcast called The Alpha Male Perspective.
Wow.
Kicking that off May 4th. So y'all check that out with us.
And where's it going to be on?
It can be seen on YouTube, Facebook, Live, all of those outlets.
Okay. And you also going to have like a live?
There's a live stream that people can, and we posted that, and it'll be on the Facebook site. So there's a Facebook page for the show, and on there, there's the link to like stream it. So it's going to be interesting because we're going to be talking about current events and things, but also just questions that people have about life and relationships. And
y'all gonna be really hitting on the relationship part, huh?
Yeah, I mean, not probably exclusively though, but yeah, we're gonna be dealing with relationships, dealing with parenting, dealing with all sorts of things like that, because one of the hosts is a single father raising his daughter.
Wow. Well, kudos to the single father.
And does an exceptional job. I have a huge amount of respect for him. He does a wonderful job. I just like when a man is willing and able and excited to accept responsibility and raise their children and enjoy it. Not like it's a burden or a task or, but to be like, hey, I got this. I can hold this down. This is my baby. It's me and my baby. And I'm going to take care of my baby.
And I just want to give a shout out to all the single fathers, even though mother's been doing it forever, but it takes a special type of man to have the patience, because mothers have a lot of patience. So I just want to give it out to the fathers. We know it's harder for you guys, especially if you're raising a daughter with all the female stuff that goes around. I thought it was hard with me raising 2 men to the best of my ability because my son got hair on his face. I'm like, I don't know. Hell, hold on a minute. Let me call Pete from Pete's Barbershop back in the
that's
Pete.
Way back in the day.
Old man Pete, when he was on Quindaro. Bless him. But I caught him. He was like, Stacy, just bring the boy on in. But it was just good to have people in the community that literally had my back and was able to help me about that.
Right.
Those just don't mean things. Because remember, I even came and was talking to you about them at the mental health center. About, because I'm about to shoot him. Yeah, you
wasn't about to shoot him. Stacy did a wonderful job raising her kids, but when you are a single parent and you're raising kids of the opposite sex, yes, you have to tap into your resources to cover those other bases. But people do it. Women, I hate when people say a woman can't raise a boy to be a man. That's a load of crap. Women have been raising boys to be men since we got to this land, okay?
Exactly.
And
since
men
we got to the land,
men are more and more so stepping up to the plate. And one of the things I like is that the family court has moved in that direction as well. The family court is much more willing to award custody to fathers.
Yeah, because my son actually has residential of his children. They have 50-50 custody, but he has residential. And it's a lot.
Yes.
But he does have boys, so it's a little bit better. But the men with girls, combing hair.
But I'm just glad we're moving in the right direction. And you ain't never lying about combing no hair.
How you do, JP, on the hair?
My baby's hair be looking good.
It do. I've seen some of them.
It takes me twice as long
as it takes you don't have to, but you know what? Her braid is like so nice too. It's really.
But it's thick.
it done got thick on you?
Her hair.
Mind you, since pandemic, I have not seen my niecey poo.
We need to get together. I need to bring her over to our homegirl's house. Her hair is to her behind, and it's thick. It takes me twice as long as it takes Nadine to comb her
put
hair.
Up in one ponytail?
Well, no.
Okay.
What takes me so I can't, like, this is gonna sound OCD, which we already covered on the show, but
Is
like
it the parts?
crooked parts, I can't do all that. The
Just
crooked
make 'em
parts.
crooked. You do a
and-
little bit that way, a little bit that way.
But then when you try to make them crooked on perfect, they still have to be perfectly in their crookedness when it's on purpose. And so, you know, getting
Perfectly
the
on its
parts,
crookedness.
getting the parts straight, and you can't have one ponytail up here and the other one
That
down.
is true when you have two. They got to be even. That is true.
My baby
That is
gotta be
true.
right. And so, but by the time I'm done, she be right.
Yeah, she'd be like, Lord, I'm ready too.
She be right. And she has gotten to the point she does not have a fit. She just sits there.
Yeah, because she was like, I might as well sit on down and get this hour hairstyle with these two ponytails.
And I be trying, and I already have a tendency to run a little late. So it becomes a situation.
Whoa.
Yeah. I used to have a tendency to run a little late. I've been very punctual.
I know, because I done got all
I've
type
been
of like
very punctual.
up and down about a couple of days that I have been late.
A couple of days.
Haven't even really been late though, you guys. I was here before it got started, and that's all that matters.
I had to call for reinforcements to get you here on time today.
Reinforcements.
I had to call for reinforcements. I had to call and ask someone to persuade you to be on time.
I made it here before you did. With
Yes,
the baby. I had to
Yes.
pack a baby bag and everything, my diapers.
Oh, and she done passed out.
Yeah, she sleeps like 23 hours a day.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, but Nadine and I was in a restaurant, and one of the servers, he was so proud. He was a proud single father. And while he was working with us, he was showing pictures like this. That's my kind of server. Like, if I'm in a restaurant, I need for the server to just chill and be your regular self. We can have conversations. He showed us the pictures of his baby, and he's like, and I did my baby's hair myself. That's why it looked good like that. It takes me a while. I said, man, you don't know.
Me too.
I said,
I can feel you.
I told him, I said, even though it can take a while, but he was young. This was a
There
guy.
is a post that says punctual when.
Oh,
Who said that? Who said that?
I can only imagine.
Maybe
Maybe it was my reinforcements.
It was your reinforcement, most likely, chiming in and talking mess. Punctual. I was punctual today. I'm punctual.
I
to
was
this
here
show.
before you were, JP.
Listen, that's one of the co-hosts from the podcast, and they had the audacity to make a specific request to me that I be on time when we launch the show. And what I pointed out, I don't know why you just made that noise, because what I pointed out, and Mr. Walker can attest to this, I have been on time for this show. Oh, no, she didn't. No, my late sister.
Ooh-wee.
I'm not even going to put my, go ahead, I don't even want to read that. My sister is chronically late.
You better watch out. Because you know you done messed up a lot of friendships.
That's my sister. She stuck with me. She can't go nowhere.
She will cut you off though and just tell you to bring
Not
the
my
baby.
sister. She
You
ain't
just-
cut me off.
You know what? She sure ain't.
Listen,
she sure is not going to do that. That's for shown up.
This is a good warning because I made two friends upset on the show. But let me tell you who ain't going nowhere. My sister. She might get mad. She might fuss. And then we just fine. But she's chronically late. She probably just turned on the show. She's 22 minutes late for this show today. She's always late. She should not be commenting on this. But anyway, back to the single fathers. As I was saying, a young black male in his 20s, proud to be a father. Mr. Walker's cracking up
I
because
know. What else
apparently
is going on,
my
Mr. Walker?
sister has something else to say. Anyway, moving on. Mental health and illness in the news. Okay, because I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, he's finna say something.
She said she'd been watching.
On time for once. This person is chronically late. All right. Russia and Putin has denied war crimes against civilians, but a drone caught images of a tank firing at a man on his bike in an area where the streets were lined with the dead bodies of civilians. Here's clinically, let's talk about this, because these particular war crimes make this man meet the criteria for antisocial personality disorder,
and give him another one too,
which is a sociopath. Okay.
Yes.
And we've talked about that on the show before, because people think antisocial, he don't like to talk to people. No, antisocial personality disorder is a sociopath. That country is being led by a sociopath. Now, this happens because America was being led by a narcissist. And what we have talked about before is that those two personality disorders are in the same cluster. There's not a whole lot of difference between a sociopath, antisocial, and a narcissist. The difference is the sociopath is willing to use a tank to fire at civilians.
Necessary. It don't even have to be necessary. I'm just going to do it because I can do it, because I have the power to do it. Now what?
And power is a driving force with these people. Yeah, he's a sociopath. A tank firing at an individual.
A whole tank?
On a bicycle. The streets lined with bodies. And so we need to keep them in our prayers, and that this war will be over soon, because that is an atrocity. That is an atrocity. Okay, here's my next story. The CDC has reported on the effects of the pandemic upon teens. They looked at 8,000 students. And what they found is that female students and the LGBTQ community has been hit especially hard by the pandemic. 74% of LGBTQ youth reported emotional abuse at home. 11% of all kids reported physical abuse. And 44% of kids reported feeling persistently sad and hopeless. Here's the reason why I want everybody to think about this. And if you are parents, please stay in touch with your kids' mental state. Hopelessness is a symptom that precedes suicidality, suicidal ideations, because hopelessness,
suicidal thoughts.
Yes, hopelessness is that feeling that my life is never going to be better. This is as good as it gets. I am never going to feel any better, which automatically leads to suicidality. And so I want parents to please, throughout the pandemic, continue to check in with your kids. And if you are struggling with feeling comfortable assessing for hopelessness, get your kid to therapy. If you notice any changes in your child's functioning behaviorally, their level of activity, they become isolated when they used to like to hang out with other kids, or they don't want to participate in certain activities that they used to participate in. All of that is called anhedonia, moving away from things that they typically enjoy doing. But if you notice drastic changes in their mood state, do not underestimate the level of gravity that could be. Check in with your kids. If you need to get your kids screened, please do so. Always look out for that symptom of hopelessness. Okay, so the other findings were 55% of kids reported emotional abuse in the home. 29% said that their parent had lost a job, which increases the likelihood of abuse. 33% of students reported a brush with racism. And this is a particularly high number. 64% of Asian Americans reported incidents of racism. 55% of Black and biracial students reported incidents of racism. Now, they didn't specify which kids had these problems before the pandemic. They were just taking a look at these particular areas over the course of the pandemic. And so it is affecting our youth on multiple levels. So parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, teachers,
Whole community.
the whole community, please, like, stay in touch with how kids are functioning on an emotional level, on a psychological level, and on a behavioral level. We have to stay in touch with our kids. Any thoughts on that, Stacy D?
No. Not
Okay.
at all. Everybody just was stuck in home.
And and even though the kids are back in school, the residual effects are continuing because things are not back to normal.
No, but it's getting really close, but it's really scary too.
It's getting close, but yes, it's scary.
Very scary.
And the kids are still afraid. Kids do not necessarily verbalize their fears and anxieties the way adults are. See, me and Stacy D can sit here, and Stacy D said it's scary. Kids don't really do well with expressing, look, I'm scared. Their behavior will reflect what is going on with them internally. And that's the reason why you want to pay attention to behavioral changes, because usually that is a sign that something is going on internally. So you want to ask them, hey, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Asking them their thoughts will elicit more information than asking them how they feel, because a lot of times they are not necessarily in touch with their feelings. So you start with the thoughts, asking them what their thoughts are, which is going to lead you in the direction of what their feelings are. And then when you ask them, are they afraid, or et cetera, other different emotional states, you will be more likely to get that information.
And you also just empowering them to let them understand that they do have a voice. And this is a safe place.
Right.
Just like Quick Trip.
Explain that to our listeners.
Quick Trip is a very safe place. If you feel as though something is wrong, or you feeling like someone has sexually abused you, or if you just want to give up your child, just drop them off at Quick Trip. Or
Actually, you can't drop your kid off. Wait a minute. I don't think we should tell people that. Forget that we said that. Please do not drop your kid off.
No. If you don't want your kid, or you can do something bad to your child,
then drop your kid off at
drop
Quick
your
Trip.
child off
Yes.
at Quick Trip. And also, if we have some teenagers listening, if you feel as though that something is going on in the home and you don't feel safe, go to Quick Trip. Quick Trip is our safe place.
Yes, and here's how you can identify the safe places. They have that sticker in the window. And so the next time you all go to Quick Trip, pay attention to that there's a sticker in the window that says it's a safe place. And so kids who are in distress, who are distraught, they can go to Quick Trip. Quick Trip will link them with the proper resources. For those of you who are not in this area, because I know that we have, listeners in Dallas and other places where, I don't know if they have Quick Trip there, but they got,
Yes, they do.
Buc-ee's, they got Quick Trip there?
Yeah, I've seen Quick Trip this
Oh,
weekend.
okay. I thought you said there was no travels this recently, D.
Anyway, let's get back to
You
the
saw
show, please.
Quick Trip in Dallas. Mr. Walker, did the D not say that? The D said there was no recent
That's 'cause
travel.
JP was trying to get in my business.
I got her up.
It's Quick Trips and Texas.
Okay, no.
But it used to didn't be,
I'll
though.
kid aside. Other places have, there is this, I love this gas station called Buc-ee's. They have everything. Like, they have everything. And I wonder if they are also a safe space. And they're going to be opening some stations here in Kansas City. But
Really?
yes. But yeah, look for
Trip gonna close it
places.
down because it's a Quick Trip on every exit.
Quick Trip ain't no joking. I love Quick Trip. Like, that's good gas in the car. Okay.
I do.
Because
I
other,
suppose.
Costco is good too.
And Sam's Club,
But there are some places that made my car run funny. So you can't put in anybody's gas in your car. But yes, as you go to different stores and gas stations, look out for that sticker that says safe place, because yes, kids can go there, kids who have ran away, parents who, as Stacy D has said, I'm glad she pointed that out. If you think that you're about to do something to harm your child, please drop your kid off at a safe place.
At a safe place.
All right. And if I'm not mistaken, there's no questions asked.
No,
because the staff at Quick Trip, they're
trained actually. They take a training.
But they don't work in social services, so you don't have to be afraid. Like, okay, they are like, listen, we know how to handle this. We will handle this from here, and just like go on about your business. Don't abuse your kid. All right. The bonus segment that Stacy D was talking about is We Tried It. And I do have something for We Tried It that I want you to try out. But why don't we come back to that, because we have our other bonus segment that we need to be able to get to after the question of the day. Because the D is still doing the dating app experiment, and I cannot wait to be updated on that, because the D has had a lot of communications with some single men. They've had some things. Single? Was there some? Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, because this is something you do need to watch out for, those fools who are pretending to be single. Last week we talked about 6 different types of cheaters, and some of the cheaters be on the dating sites pretending to be single when they are not. All right, question of the day. This is actually going to be it's not going to take long to cover this. I have an uncle who sometimes shows up for holidays dressed as Uncle Shannon and sometimes dressed as Aunt Shannon. How do I explain this to my young children? This is actually a really good question, because there's gender identity, which is when that's the gender that a person identifies with, regardless of what they were born as. But they identify as male or female. But there are other.
But now they say both,
which is gender fluid, and that's what Shannon is experiencing. Is gender fluidity. People who are gender fluid do not identify with only one gender. Some days or periods of time they identify as male, and other days and times they identify as female. Now, when it's the 4th of July and Uncle Shannon shows up, but your 5-year-old is like, that was Aunt Shannon on New Year's. What's going on, mommy?
Okay, I'm shaking the thing.
Mommy!
That was funny.
I mean, this is a very valid question. And it came up in therapy also with one of my clients who has a sibling who the kids are like, Uncle, Auntie, Mommy, please help me understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot for young kids to take in. And so you can try to explain to your young child that, Shannon, Uncle Shannon, Aunt Shannon is gender fluid, and you want to use language that a kid can understand. And so it's like, well, some days Shannon is in touch with.
Okay, can we play this out? You are the parent and I'm the child.
Okay. So you be the child. You gonna ask about Uncle Shannon.
Mm-hmm. Uncle, Auntie Shannon?
Yes, honey. Uncle Shannon sometimes presents to you that it's Aunt Shannon, and this is what is going on. Shannon does not feel like only a man all the time, and does not feel like only a woman all the time. Sometimes Shannon is feeling like a woman And that is the reason why Shannon shows up wearing a dress. Now, at other times, Shannon is feeling like a man, because inside of Shannon, there is a little bit of both. There's a little bit of man, there's a little bit of woman. And so sometimes Shannon is more in touch with one over the other. And that is the reason why sometimes Shannon shows up wearing a dress, Aunt Shannon, and sometimes Shannon shows up dressed like a man, Uncle Shannon.
Well, Daddy, I want to do that too.
Well, honey, okay. Tell me, how do you want to do that?
Well, I'm only going to wear dresses when I go to church. When I go to church, I can be a girl. But at school, I want to be a boy. Can I do that? Because the boys don't let me play basketball with them.
Honey, if you want to do that, we can talk about that. You can do that. You can wear
And why come I can't stand up and use the bathroom?
Well, see, Mommy's going to have to explain. You don't have the parts for that. Listen, this is okay. All kidding aside, I like it that the D mentioned when you have this conversation with kids, it is be prepared.
Be prepared.
That they very well may say, well, I want to do that too. And this is where parents really struggle. One, parents in this situation are usually very frustrated with Aunt and Uncle Shannon.
Yes.
And one of the things you might want to, the discussion you might want to have with your family member is, hey, my baby is 5 or 4 or 6, and explain, can we not go back and forth?
Can we just have one?
Can we just be Shannon?
At family functions. Sorry, I apologize. Hey, but at family functions, because you have to maintain the integrity of the babies.
And that is an
and
option.
let them make their own decisions.
Yeah. One option is asking that family member, hey, this is confusing for the kids. Can you exhibit some consistency? Now, in the situation with the family that I was seeing in therapy, that request was denied. And so,
well, guess what? Uncle Shannon and Aunt Shannon be kicked up out the family functions. You come over the next day and eat.
Lord, the D is ready to kick.
Sorry.
D's ready to kick Shannon
Because
out
he's
of the
grown.
functions. But the kids probably love Shannon, because I know that with the family that I was seeing, they love.
We have a question. No.
Read it, D. You had that eye surgery. Read that question.
I don't see anything. Oh, okay.
It says, sorry, I just told the truth. Your uncle wants to live like a woman.
But that is what is that's gender identity, though. What that listener is identifying, that's gender identity when the person wants to live as a woman. But gender fluid, they are not always living as a woman. Some days they're living as a woman, and other days they're living as a man, and that is more difficult for kids to understand.
Most definitely.
Another option, if you don't want to go with Stacy D's option of telling Shannon,
they kicked out the families.
Don't show up here with fireworks because you're not invited.
You're not invited.
Another option is explaining to Shannon, can you at least not expect young children to go back and forth with uncle and auntie, or with pronouns of he and she, because they are too young. Adults struggle with the pronouns. Adults struggle to remember that, okay, my family member is dressed as male, I need to say he, although I've been saying she for the past 20 years. So imagine how difficult it is for kids. And so a family member who is gender fluid should at least be willing to not expect the kids to keep track of uncle, auntie, he, she. Just be Shannon. That's, you know, so that the kids are not confused. But this is something that it does come up. And
it has.
Here's something else to think about. There we live in a time where there are so many terms for gender identity.
It really is.
There are 64 terms for gender identity. We're only talking about 2 today. We're talking about 2 in talking about, excuse me, in talking about gender identity and gender fluid, but there are many more terms out there, as many as 68. And so when it comes,
and we are not covering the other 66 today.
it's not enough time to cover even like half of those. But this is just to give you an idea of how difficult it can be when a family member says, well, I'm gender fluid. And it's like, okay, I'm not totally sure what that means, and I don't know how to explain that to my child. And when there are 64 terms, agender, aliagender, amab, androgyny, aporagender, bigender, it gets complicated.
Most definitely.
And yes, parents, you do need to be prepared that your child may say, well, can I do that? And for young kids, they may be like, well, Shannon gets to
do that. How come I can't?
So why can't I do it? A lot of parents have moved in the direction of being more, for example, my mother-in-law bought Sasha a outfit that had a truck on it. Mm-hmm. And we didn't think anything of it. You know, it's like, and actually my baby loves vehicles.
Always have.
That's mommy's car. That's daddy's car. That's my car. She got more cars than us. That's my car too. And that's my car, because she got like 3 cars. And so she loved her little outfit with the truck on it. And it was blue and had stripes. And I think it was my sister that said, is that a truck on there? I said, yes. She don't care. She loved vehicles. Like, my daughter's not going to end up, and my sister wasn't saying this. She just hadn't seen, because for the most part, Sashi's real pink and frilly.
Yes, she is.
Real pink and frilly and love
She's
dresses.
girly.
She'll go get a dress out the closet and drag it across the floor and be like, put this on me. It was her Easter dress. It was like a month ago. I put it on her. Lady's like, why she got that Easter dress on?
Because she's dressing up.
Because she's dressing up. She wanted to put it on. And so parents out there, your kid's not going to end up a lesbian because like they're wearing an outfit with a truck on it. It just expands their view of this. And here is what I really suggest.
Okay, so what? Okay, we have something up here. What? It's a line on there.
Yeah, it says.
What's that say, Mr. Walker?
What about do not say gay?
Is the question, is it okay to say? I don't think there's anything wrong with saying gay. And when you have a family member, let's take this question from this listener about Shannon. If Shannon says, look, I'm gay, then Shannon's gay. You know, now if Shannon says, I don't want to be referred to as gay, you just ask, okay, well, what
exactly?
What term
you have to ask the individual
would you like to be? What term? Why are we needing to use a term? Why are we? Because the baby's 5 or 4 or 6, like that's a little young. We'll necessarily need to get into all of that. And so you may have to say to Shannon, we as adults can have this conversation, but for the kids, keep it simple. And what I really suggest is explaining to kids, we are all human first and foremost. We're human. And so, yes, Shannon sometimes feels like a woman, and sometimes Shannon feels like a man, and Shannon may show up dressed like a woman or dressed like a man. But what you need to focus on is that we are all human. Okay, we're all God's children, and teach your kids to interact with people as humans and with humanity, as opposed to dealing with so much of the confusion around gender identity and gender fluidity. Kids at that age, you need to be focusing on, hey, we're human. and this makes Shannon happy to sometimes wear a dress or to sometimes dress like a male, because I don't know, this question does not say what the person's assigned gender is at birth. So I really don't know if Shannon, what the
But at least their
concrete
parent
gender
named
is.
them a good name. It goes male or female.
Yeah, and part of that could be, I was looking up the Don't Say Gay bill that passed in Florida that just over the last couple of weeks, that prohibits instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through third grade.
Okay. And when you think about kindergarten to third grade, age 5 to 8, that's the question. Parents are wondering, does my child have the maturity and the intelligence to understand that term? Is their prefrontal cortex developed enough to understand that term? And there's two sides of it. There's the side that says, hey, we're not going to use this word. But then what we have to remember is that within a family, you know, because the kids aren't at school all the time, they go home. And if they go home and they have a family member, Shannon, for example, who says, I'm gay, yeah, even
This
though
is
the
a
school
conversation
is
you're gonna
not
have to have
dealing
at
with
home.
it forces you, then you are in a position to have that conversation.
Have that conversation at home.
So on the one hand, I'm saying, let's try not to confuse the kids. On the other hand, we have to deal with the reality of the situation that there are people who are going to say, I am gay. And so that family member needs to be prepared to explain what that means. And hopefully that explanation will basically be, I was born a man and I am in a relationship with another man. I'm attracted to men. I like men. A simple explanation of I am gay. Or if it is a female family member and she says, well, gay means that I like and I am in a relationship with someone who is the same sex as me. So I'm a woman and my girlfriend, this is a woman. Like, you want to use simple terms with kids. Don't confuse them with these other 63 terms for gender identity.
Exactly. And most definitely, these are conversations that I think a parent should have inside their home. And you should remember way in the beginning, the parent is your first teacher. We are our children's first teacher. Some things are going to be difficult and we're not going to want to let them know. But I'd rather for mine to know from me than from any other outside source. And that's just Stacy D, speaking of Unspeakable.
Yeah, and when you think about that bill in Florida and the controversy surrounding it, because the issue is,
Yes, it was a
is
lot.
this homophobically driven to remove this term? Are we trying to shield kids from a world that has gay people in it? I like what Stacy's saying. We can't trust the schools to educate our kids on these things anyway. So whether you live in a state where they're allowed to use the term or you live in a state that's not allowed to use the term, you need to head all that mess off at the pass and educate your own kids.
Most definitely.
Okay, because even if they say, okay, it's okay to use this term, you have no idea that the teacher who is teaching your kid is going to cover it in the manner that you want it covered
Exactly.
in. And is going to cover it in a manner that fits with your family.
Exactly.
Because you could end up having a bad situation on the 4th of July with Uncle Shannon. Because you let the school teach your kid about gender, identity, and fluidity, and sexual, sexual identity, and all these different things. So really, people need to not raise so much ruckus over a bill and the school. Educate your kids at home.
Exactly.
Now, D's right about that. Now, tell them, D.
That's what I did, and that's what I do.
Yes, but it is an increasing situation because, and I had planned for us to do a whole show on this, kids as young as 8 or 9 are being allowed
Yes.
to start the process of gender reassignment.
Where they do that at?
Right
Here
here.
in Kansas City, Missouri.
Right here. Kids in foster
Your tax
care.
dollars.
Kids in foster care are allowed at young ages to start taking medication to delay puberty. So a young male can be in elementary school and decide that he wants to live as a female, and they will allow
And
him.
our tax dollars are paying for that.
It's foster care. Tax dollars pay.
They can't even know what they want to wear the next day. So how in the world can you be planning your future in elementary? There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And so when we cover this, because there's so many studies, there are studies that say that this prevents depression when you allow kids to decide their gender at that young age and allow them to take medication that is a part of the gender reassignment process. You know, so these young males taking medication to delay puberty so that they, you know, their penis does not grow because they're planning to live life as a female, or a young female taking medication to delay the development of her breast. And so it's a complicated situation because, as Stacy D is saying, kids that age are not allowed to make all these other decisions.
Exactly.
But they're allowed to choose their gender. And
They're not even allowed to say what they want to eat. No, you're going to eat what I fix.
Right. And although there are studies supporting this, I myself had a client who later changed their mind.
Exactly.
At around the age of 18, they changed their mind, had been going through this for years, and decided, I don't want to switch and live as the opposite. I want to live as the gender that I was born. Wow. And so that's the point that you're making, though, that allowing kids to make a massive decision. The prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until the age of 25. And so allowing kids to make a decision prior to their brain even being, their brain isn't even fully developed, be prepared that there's a possibility that they will change their mind. And so when I have worked with kids in this situation, because as a therapist, I can't impose my belief system on a family. So as a therapist, all I could do is be supportive and tell the parents, please be prepared that your child may change their mind. Now, the studies say that when they do, they just stop taking the hormones and, you know, it halts that process. But as with many things, I don't know if enough studies have been done to assess any long-term damage when you have delayed the natural development, sexual development in a child. You've delayed puberty. You've halted it. I don't know if they've done enough studies to see what the lasting effects of that is when they later decide to halt it.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah. It's a
Even
big
more problems.
It's a big issue. Okay, I thought this was gonna be fast, but
I told you it wasn't.
D, you brought out some some deep points that we
But I
had to
told
take
you
a
it
look
wasn't.
at. Okay, let's move on to the D and the dating app experience.
The dating app experience. Okay. Number one, I don't have the patience for the dating app. Y'all know I'm ADHD. It's
Why are you saying that? Why are you saying you had a patience?
I just don't have the patience of doing all these messaging them and everything and then waiting, and I get tired of, if you're not that special one, I don't need no good morning. So I have like 50 good mornings and I just be like,
You have 141 men.
And I be deleting a whole lot of them, and they still be coming back.
You have so many because once you
They're
downloaded it
everywhere.
on your phone, I stopped going through and screening out. So
I'll be screening them out myself. And then they're everywhere. They're in Texas,
oh, they're everywhere.
St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
So I'm
when
just
you
like-
travel, they waiting on you. The D has had men all over the world. I'm talking men in Dubai, men in Australia, like men sending messages in languages that the D
Don't even know.
recognize.
I didn't even take Spanish in school, so I don't know anything but English.
Okay.
It's just too much.
Although you don't have the patience, you have been communicating with
a
some of
little
these
bit,
gentlemen.
a little bit,
Right?
Not that
And
much. 'Cause
how
it just
are the
gets to be too
communications
much.
going?
What the hell? You can see them. Good morning. Good morning to you. How's your day? My day's going good. How's your day? I mean, literally, I have not gotten a connection with anyone. Just they be writing paragraphs. I be like,
Well, here's something to think about for those of you who are also experimenting around with the dating apps. Some of the conversations are superficial. I would weed those out. For example, I'm not going to say any names. Let's not say the names, but this is a message to Stacy D. You'll have to excuse my manners. I'm normally not this forward, but sometimes things just need to be said. You are a very attractive woman, and I'm very anxious to get to know you. Okay, now here's the thing. That's a basic general flirtatious message that does not tell you anything about this individual.
he just want to get it on.
He just want to get it on.
And you know, I'm a prize. You don't just give away the prize.
You don't just roll up on the D trying to get it on like that. I just want to tell you.
I mean, I
really
had
attractive.
quite a few of them. I mean, I just like you said, it's a hookup site. Like he's a master love maker. Okay, what is that?
Now, you got another message that I thought was
Did I
real
respond?
conversation. No, you didn't. This person, it's a simple sentence. It's a simple question. What brings you to this site? It seems simple, but that's a good question.
It really is.
What are you doing? Because he wants to know, are you just trying to hook up? Because he wants you to know, I ain't just some hoe from around the way that you think you just going to be rolling in and doing the D and dropping it on me. I need to know what this is about. What you looking for? That's what he's asking. What brings you to this site? And so that's a question that you can ask because he wants to know, is this just for hooking up? Is this do you actually want to date? Are you looking for
And he 412 miles away.
up the is
Yeah, look. And he's a Cancer.
doggone it? What is that? We only have 1 minute. What does that mean?
What?
That he's a Cancer.
Cancers and Libras, they real good. Cancers, Libras,
Oh, that's a good
Libras,
match.
and Leos.
That's a good match. Okay.
Now we gotta wrap it up.
That is our show for today. What Stacy D is going to do, she's going to continue to go through. I want us to take a deeper look at the communications to see if these conversations can become real conversations, basically. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything.
Thank you and God bless.
Bye-bye now.